How's it going, Wolfpack family? This is Mr. McDonald with a how-to video, and in this one we're going to cover how to take your digital design for your puzzle cube and make it real. So to let you know, we're going to need a few supplies. So out of your supply kit, you're going to need your bag of 3/4 inch wooden cubes. You're going to need the roll of tape. You're going to need the glue. You can use the nail file, a ruler, and then your just kind of manila folder that you can work on, because we want to make sure that, as things are going, sometimes glue will kind of seep out between the two blocks, and we want to make sure we protect any tables or desks or anything that you're working on at home. So let's go ahead and go on over to our document camera and take a look at how we're going to do this. So in setting this up, the first thing that you want to consider is you want to have your complete design. You can see here on my side. And we're going to basically first part it out. So we're going to need to see what each piece looks like separately, so we know what shapes to make our puzzle pieces. Now we're going to be working on making several puzzle pieces today, and this will go ahead and we'll be able to kind of do each one in turn. So now that I've got my pieces, I'm going to go ahead and start working on this first orange piece here. So let me go ahead and move that over just a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and work on this. Now, to make it a little easier for you to see, I'm going to go ahead and lose the mat here. But remember, the manila folder's there just to work underneath. That way, if we have any glue seep out or anything like that, we're not getting anything on your desk or, kitchen table or counter or anything like that. But these blocks can blend in a little bit with this, with this folder. So just to make things easy, I'm going to go ahead and work on my mat, because I've got a nice cutting mat that I can use here. So in your kit, you've got 30 cubes, and you're going to need 27 of them. So when you are working on each piece, you're going to want to think about how big each piece is. So I'm going to go ahead and move these extra blocks over here. And as I'm looking at what I have underneath my camera here, I'm going to want to reproduce the same shape as what I have there in TinkerCAD. And so you could see that with my orange piece, it's going to be kind of 2 blocks here and 3 blocks here. And if you're ever in doubt, you can always take this one piece, and remember that we can ungroup, so we can actually see that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's going to be arranged just like this. So I can just go ahead and undo that just to make sure that it stays solid. And what we're going to need is we're going to need some glue and some tape. And I'm going to show you how we're going to put this all together. So to start with, one of the things that you want to try and avoid is having cubes that are twisted or, offline or crooked or things like that, because we really want to make sure that when we make a puzzle piece, and this is one I made earlier, we want to make sure that when things are put together, they're nice and even and as close as we can get them. Now, unfortunately, these cubes are not perfect, so there will be times when, there still will be gaps, but we're going to try and reduce that as much as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and do this first side right over here. And so what that's going to be is 3 blocks. It's going to be 3 blocks done like this. But to keep it straight, I'm going to keep it against my ruler here. So that way I can kind of hold it straight. So what I'm going to do is start with a little bit of glue. And just need a little dot. And then we can take the blocks and smooth them around so that there's glue on both sides. And then we're going to go ahead and put them together. I'll take my 3rd cube. I'm going to use this. I can see that it's pretty much on both sides, but you want to make sure that there's glue on both sides. And we're then going to go ahead and put this up against the ruler. Now, this is going to need to be held together while it dries. So this is where your tape's going to come in. I'm going to take a small piece that's just the length of our piece here. And I'm going to go ahead and put this down because I'm going to kind of hold it with my fingers together this way while I put the tape on with my thumbs. So, and just to make it easier for you to see in the camera, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of put kind of right there so you can see that. And I also want to do that on the opposite side. So I want to do that over here because this could still pull apart, and that's not going to help us out much. So let me go ahead and get everything tucked back in here, double check it against my ruler. Small piece of tape. Okay. And there's my first piece. So this is going to be for the right side. So let me go ahead. I'm going to need this to go here. So let's go ahead and glue these together. So a little more glue right here. This. Kind of again, pushing them together. Little piece of tape right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of leave this edge. I want to keep the tape away from that edge. So I'm going to kind of do something like this. And so you can see I'm leaving the tape away from here, and this will just tuck here. So you can just see the tape there. And let's do that on the opposite side as well. So again, kind of leaving this edge. I want to leave that alone, and I'm going to show you why here in a second. So just like I had this piece kind of hanging over that little bit, I want to do the same thing back here. Okay, because this side is going to get glued to this, like here, and we're going to use tape to hold that apart, that together. So again, here's my little line. You can see there's my tape. So now I'm going to take these two and glue them together. Now this one, you can always use your finger or even a piece of paper. But we want to make sure that we have a good coating of glue in there. We don't want to go over the top crazy, but we want to make sure that we have enough to create a good bond. And you just kind of smooth it out. I'm not opposed to using my fingers, but some people are. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and take these and put them together. And you'll see a little bit of the glue maybe squish out between. And to hold this together, I want to make sure that my bottom here is the same. Okay. And now I'm going to go ahead, a little more tape. So I'm going to hold this right here. A little tape across here. And again, pushing in with my fingers here to squeeze that there. Like that. And so this piece, it's all taped. I can let this set and dry, and tomorrow I can untape it and get it all good. So now that that piece is done, I'm going to go ahead and set that over here. And in TinkerCAD, so I know that I did this, I'm going to go ahead and move this over here, just off the work plane. So now I'm going to need to make this piece, my gray piece. So let me go ahead and reposition. Maybe I'll even turn how I'm looking at it so I can see how that's going to go together. And then we'll go ahead and start working on this one. So for this piece, I first want to look at how it's going to be so I could see that it's kind of this shape this way with a cube on top. Now, it's really important that you always double check because it is, in this case, this piece is maybe different than this piece. And we didn't necessarily want to make the mirror image. So it's always good to always just double check your shape. So we're going to need to put these together. And then we will go ahead and put this final piece on top. So now that we know what we're doing, let's go ahead and start with our pieces here. A little bit of glue. So that's right there. And so I'm going to go ahead and put, again, holding here. Leave that hanging back here. Again, pushing it here. So you can see I've kind of got my tape hanging off the back here because this cube is going to go here. And then I can use tape to go across. So I have to kind of think about, ooh, wait a minute. That's not going to work because I need to put, because think, if this is going here, that piece of tape isn't going to work. So what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and instead of having the tape here, I'm going to put the tape here. So now this wood, there's no tape and there's no tape. So I can now safely go ahead and attach that one. And that one looks a little bit small. So maybe I'll go ahead and check one of my other cubes. Because again, you can see there's a good bit of difference in the shape of those and the size of those. So maybe we'll just kind of put this one over here. So that one's looking good. So that'll be a good place there. And then this one can go there. So that's looking okay. So that's, again, that's going to be our gray piece. So let's go ahead and glue this in and we'll put tape here and here. Okay. So now that I got that fit in there, I want to remember I need this to go here. So I'm going to put tape on this side and the back. So right here and back here. So I've just got one more surface, doing okay so far here. So let's go ahead and get our final block on top here. Now, when you're adding a second layer, it's really, really important to make sure it is nice and square with the other block underneath it. We don't want to have something like that. We don't want to have it like this or, kind of sitting over. We want to make sure that it is nice and flush. So we're going to, again, use a little tape over here and back here. So a little bit of glue. Just like this. Now to get this backside, I'm going to go ahead and put this on the table. So I can go ahead and use my ruler. Here, and so now I can put a little tape back here, kind of again pushing it here. Okay, and then Now that I've got that, go ahead and put a little tape right here. And this piece is all done. So now that I've got that, there's my gray piece. Go ahead and put that up here. Going back over to TinkerCAD. So I can go ahead and zoom out a little bit. Go ahead and move my gray piece over here. And let's go ahead and work on my T. Now, because it's going to take a little bit more time to do this, I'm going to go ahead and time lapse making this. What I will do is I'm going to make it a point to point out which sides I'm going to put tape. So I'm going to kind of probably put tape probably on here and the other side, and then I'll tape it this way for the top. But just to make sure that this isn't like a 2-hour long tutorial, I'm going to go ahead and time lapse a few more of those pieces, and I will pause in when I need to kind of say something there. So here we go. Let's make a T. So before doing a piece like this, there are some things that you might want to be a little bit careful about. And it's because you kind of really have to plan out your tape. So when we think about it, we're going to need to kind of tape these two this way. But if you think about it, if I go tape along here, there's nothing to go here. If I put tape along here, I can't attach this one. So you really need to think about how you're attaching everything and just with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something where I'm going to attach along a side, and then I'm going to come back and kind of redo it. So I'm going to build it kind of like an L here, so I can do this, and then I'm going to build this, and I'll just be able to put it on like that. So let's go ahead and head back into the time lapse, and so let's go ahead and go through that. All right, friends. So now that and by the way, taping down your ruler is a really great way to help keep it still. Now that we've got everything built, what we need to do is have patience, because what is going to need to happen is this glue is going to need to dry. So the thing about projects like this is it always takes some pretty strong willpower to just kind of let these sit. But these are going to need to sit overnight, and once everything is dried, you can very gently peel the tape off. Now, the tape in this case is going to hold everything together. So you could try and do the fitting, but really at this point, we just want to let this glue dry. Now, when you're all done and you take all your tape off, then you can go ahead and test your fit. And you might need to do a little sanding, but we'll talk about the finishing and the touching up and everything in another video. So I hope that helps. So with that said, my friends, I hope this absolutely helps you get your puzzle cube together. One of my favorite things to do is when I kind of zoom out in TinkerCAD here and I'm all done with my puzzle, is I get to the fun of going back up here to undo and just kind of click, and just kind of make let me just even kind of show it like this because it's really fun to watch, is I can actually make the puzzle, just hitting that undo button, I can make the puzzle reassemble itself. So with that said, my friends, what we want to do is remember, let these dry. The Elmers, best, it's probably a couple hours, but it would be best to just leave this, let the tape sit on there just overnight, peel the tape off in the morning. Now, if you have any questions, please make sure you reach out and email. But otherwise, I hope this helps, and I can't wait to see your puzzle cube in class. So have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next time. Take care.